Friends, do you want to beat the benchmark or the index returns with a simpler solution? This video will help you empower with a strategy which can help you identify a lower risk product which will in long run potentially help in beating market returns. Stay till the end because in this video हम लोग बिल्कुल detail में with charts, with excels, we will kind of help you understand this strategy which will perhaps potentially beat your market returns for long durations. With that, I'll start with a small story of two hikers. They were planning to hike a very high mountain and पहला वाला hiker what he was doing that he was very risk managed. वो अपने साथ पूरे restraints और rope लेकर चल रहा था और हर 5 से 10 मीटर में अपने को वहां पे एंकर करके he would sit over kind of ensure that कि अगर वो गिरे तो ज्यादा नीचे तक नहीं गिरे, उसके चोट ना लगे. दूसरा one was very adventurous. वो अपना सोचता था कि there's no use of wasting time in anchoring yourself. You are good enough. I'll continuously go up faster. So दोनों ने हाइकिंग चालू की. पहला वाला थोड़ा स्लो हो रहा था बिकॉज वो हर 5-10 मीटर में जाके अपने को एंकर कर रहा था सो दैट वो गिरे नहीं. वो एक आध बार गिरा भी बट ज्यादा नहीं गिरता था क्योंकि रोप रोक लेती थी. सेकंड वाला जो था फटाफट ऊपर चढ़ता था बट एवरी अदरवाइज वो स्लिप हो जाता था, नीचे गिरता था, उसके लग जाती थी, फिर वो तेजी से ऊपर जाता. एंड ऑफ द पर्टिकुलर हाइकिंग सेशन में बोथ ऑफ देम रीच्ड नियरली रफली एट द सेम टाइम. बट पहला वाला हाइकर वाज इन अ वेरी गुड शेप. ही एंजॉयड द हाइक, ही एंजॉयड द एंटायर एनवायरनमेंट एंड वाज हैप्पी. सेकंड वाला वाज रिलेटिवली हैप्पी. ही हैड लॉट्स ऑफ ब्रूजेस, उसके लग गई थी. ही वाज अ लिटिल बिट काइंड ऑफ नॉट इन अ गुड माइंड सेट एज वेल क्योंकि द होल हाइक वाज वेरी stressful for him. This is exactly the concept which you want to build upon in the world of investing. If you risk manage your investments well, in that situation, your journey will also be nice and you would also perhaps reach the same outcome without taking much risk. So look into the chart now. What you will see that the chart has got, it shows the drawdowns, कितना आपका value money की नीचे आती है, उसको कितना time लगता है recover करने में to the same journey where they started from. So example, if your investment value falls down by 10%, it needs to go up by 11% to reach at the same starting point. And if it falls down by 33%, 1/3 गिर जाए, तो उसको ऊपर जाने के लिए 50% ऊपर जाना पड़ता है. And the last one, if I take an example, if it falls down by 60% in value, it has to go up by 150% from that bottom point to be able to recover the lost value. This is the concept which if you understand it well, you'll be able to kind of have a smoother journey. Smooth journey, दोस्तों, has its merit. I was reading this particular infographics from the Mind journals. Brilliant. देखिए क्या बोलता है वो. There are 3 ways of reaching your goal. पहला, gradual up move. धीरे. See the first वाला diagram. उसमें consistently it's going up. Next one is, see the third one. Very rigorous. Furious up, furious down. कभी कभार तो इतना डाउन कि पूरा का पूरा आधा खाली हो जाता है जर्नी. एंड मिडिल वन इज वेरी ग्रेजुअल, वेरी स्लो. इट मे नॉट रीच द फुल आउटकम बट इट रीचेस इन द एंड. व्हाट यू आर सीइंग इन इन्वेस्टिंग वर्ल्ड इज कॉल्ड वॉलिटिलिटी और स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन. चॉइस इज योर्स. आउटकम एंड में सेम है. डू यू वांट टू गो अप एंड डाउन और अ रिलेटिवली स्मूथ जर्नी? इन दिस वीडियो वी विल एक्चुअली नाउ गो इनटू द इन्वेस्टमेंट वाला पार्ट वेयर वी विल सी हाउ यू कुड यूज एन इन्वेस्टमेंट अप्रोच टू रीच दैट सेम गोल. Before that, a quick introduction. My name is CA Puneet Agarwal. I'm the founder of Banyan FA LLP, where we are one-stop shop for all finance needs of people. Please follow us on Instagram and YouTube, where we release weekly videos related to personal finance. So friends, this is where we introduce a very interesting and lesser understood mutual fund scheme category called aggressive hybrid mutual funds. What does this scheme do? ये investment का around 65 to 75% of the money it invests in equity and remaining it invests in debt. Regular basis पे वो इस फॉर्मूले को रीसेट करते रहते हैं. इफ द मार्केट गोज अप, इट ट्राइज टू सेल अ bit of equity and move it into debt. If market goes down, it uses the same money from debt to buy more equities. Simple. Let's see in practice how this actually works. I'll now share my screen. Do stick right till the end so that you are able to understand how this concept works and you can beat the market perhaps using this strategy over long durations of time. Screenshot time. Right, friends. So what are we seeing over here? Let's assume that we have a starting value of rupees 1 lakh rupees which is getting invested in that hybrid scheme. The fund manager will deploy 65% of the money in equities. I'm using the 65-35 ratio and 35 will remain in debt. Because it is 65% and above, it is taxed as equity. So it's very tax efficient as well. Okay? Let's see what situation happens when the market first assumption, the market actually is now going up by 15% and debt component is not going to go up and down too much. It is debt end of the day. तो वो केवल हमने assume किया 0.5% ही बढ़ा. So what impact does it have? Your 65% of the value, if you see, is gone up by to 74,000. While the debt वाला 0.5% में what would happen much? It will just go up a little bit and it has gone up by around 175 rupees. The total value of your investment from 1 lakh rupees has gone to 1,09,000 rupees. It's over here where the fund manager will now trigger its रीबैलेंसिंग एक्टिविटी। रीबैलेंसिंग में वो क्या करेगा, अगेन 65% और 35% में उस मनी को स्प्लिट करेगा। तो 1,09,000 का 65% would be around 71,000 and debt would be around 38,000. What he will do? Will sell off a little bit of equity and buy a little bit of debt, and revised allocation will go into this ratio. So the end of this rebalancing activity में the value of equity in the portfolio will go down from 74,000 to 71,000 and debt की value बढ़ा के 38,000 पे ले जाएगा. Total value remains the same. यहाँ तक समझ में आया दोस्तों? नेक्स्ट देखते हैं नेक्स्ट स्टेप पे क्या करता है। अब इक्विटी मार्केट ऊपर जाते हैं तो नीचे भी जाते हैं, तो लेट्स सी व्हाट हैपेंस व्हेन द इक्विटी मार्केट्स गो डाउन। इन दिस सिचुएशन नाउ व्हाट वी अज्यूम्ड इज द मार्केट वेंट डाउन बाय 15%। डेट पे वही रखा कि वो भी अपना 0.5% की रेट से धीरे धीरे ऊपर जा रहा है, राइट। सो इम्पैक्ट ऑफ दैट गोइंग डाउन बाय 15% क्या होता है? सो व्हाट इफ यू सी द फॉर्मूला, इसने क्लोजिंग वैल्यू जो हम इक्विटी की थी आफ्टर दैट रीबैलेंसिंग 71,000 पकड़ा, उसमें 15% लेस कर दिया, तो द वैल्यू ऑफ इक्विटी वेंट डाउन फ्रॉम 71,000 टू 60,000 इन द पोर्टफोलियो। डेट को ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ा, वो अपने 0.5% मेरेली रेट से ऊपर बढ़ता रहा, तो उसकी वैल्यू 38,400 से बढ़ के जस्ट थोड़ा सा 38,600 पे आ गई। बट द ओवरऑल पोर्टफोलियो, बिकॉज इक्विटी वेंट डाउन बाय 15%, पोर्टफोलियो वैल्यू 1,09,000 से गिर के इट हैज कम डाउन टू 99,000। Yes, there's a loss. But इधर भी फंड मैनेजर नहीं रुकेगा, वो फिर से इसको रीबैलेंस करेगा। रीबैलेंस में अगेन क्या करेगा कि 99,000 का 65% पे इक्विटी पे लेकर आएगा। सो ही हैज टू काइंड ऑफ इंक्रीज इक्विटी टू 64,000। वो 4,000 कहां से लाएगा? वो डेट को 35% से रीबैलेंस करेगा, तो वो डेट में से 3800 थोड़ा सा सेल करके 3800 की इक्विटी खरीद लेगा। एंड में इसका रीबैलेंस्ड अमाउंट रहेगा 64,000 इक्विटी हो जाएगा एंड 34,000 डेट रह जाएगा। टोटल वैल्यू ऑफ द पोर्टफोलियो इज अराउंड 99,000, राइट। सो इफेक्टिवली व्हाट यू वुड नोटिस इज दैट यू स्टार्टेड द जर्नी विद 1 lakh, market went up by 15%, went up to 1,09,000, market fell down by 15%, the same value went down to 99,000. Now you would think, why are we doing this all this मस्तीबाजी? Why? I mean, इसका इम्पैक्ट क्या है? नीचे जाने पे नीचे तो आ गया, इसका इम्पैक्ट देखने के लिए अपन क्या करते हैं, हम प्योर इक्विटी अरेंजमेंट देखते हैं। 100% इक्विटी, अगर 100% इक्विटी वाला अरेंजमेंट लेते हैं, विच इज सिचुएशन वेर यू वुड हैव योर इंडेक्स फंड्स, राइट, और 100% इक्विटी फंड, जब इक्विटी विल गो अप बाय 15%, 1 lakh rupees will go straight up as 1,15,000. But then when the equity will go down by 15%, so उसकी ओपनिंग वैल्यू 1,15,000 है एंड 15% लेस होने पे वो 97,000 पे चला जाएगा। What did you notice over here? In the arrangement of a 100% equity fund or an index fund, by just this simple +15 and -15 में उसका एंड आउटकम हो गया 97,000। While in a 65-35 रेशियो का जो फंड था अग्रेसिव हाइब्रिड फंड्स में, the same situation it fell to 99,000 only. There was only a loss of 600 rupees. So did you see this, that in this up and down move, how aggressive funds can actually result in this a better outcome than a 100% equity fund? Let's see another example over here where we will look into some real life examples of aggressive hybrid funds. So I have this analysis report from Morningstar, one of the premier research bodies. Here I've taken a few hybrid funds which have long history, track record. I have these are not any kind of buy or sell recommendations. These are just used as an example because they all have 10 years plus histories. And over there I've pulled in index fund S&P 500, BSE Sensex fund पकड़ लिया मैंने इधर, ठीक है। What you will notice is that in this 1 year period, 3 year period, 5 year period and 10 year period, the returns of the index were 24, 14, 15 and 14 respectively. Now look in all durations of time, what you will realize is this hybrid fund which is having anywhere between 65 to 75% equity, as the duration went ahead, even the worst performing hybrid fund, which you could call, let's say SBI hybrid fund, was higher than an index fund. These are all regular friends दोस्तों, इसमें कोई रेगुलर डायरेक्ट का मैं कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं ला रहा। एवरीथिंग इज रेगुलर हियर, सो दैट देयर इज नो इशू अब कि इसमें एक्सपेंस रेशियो का प्रॉब्लम था या नहीं था। व्हाट यू विल रियलाइज इज दैट इन ऑल दीस ड्यूरेशंस दैट द इंडेक्स फंड्स में एज द टाइम, इवन इफ यू लुक इनटू द 5 year window, the Sensex index fund was giving around 15.9% return and the worst performer was at 14.2. ज्यादा डिफरेंस नहीं था, but the risk was materially lower for each one of them and उसके बाद बाकी सारे के सारे were higher than the index, मोटा मोटा, ठीक है। Now let's look into another data point which I call as the risk reward. So x-axis is standard deviation or risk, कितना ऊपर नीचे जाता है एक इन्वेस्टमेंट। The more it is towards the left hand side, the less riskier is the investment. To help you understand, our Sensex fund, the HDFC index fund, is number 5 and remaining all others are hybrid funds, aggressive hybrid funds. What you will notice, ये वाला पॉइंट जहां पे ये बार है, दिस इज वेयर द सेंसेक्स इज, एंड द सेंसेक्स फंड, द सेंसेक्स इंडेक्स फंड इज एग्जैक्टली एट द सेम रिस्क लेवल देन द मार्केट, बट उसका रिटर्न मार्केट से लोअर है. व्हाई? उसका एक्सपेंस रेशियोज है. सो एन इंडेक्स फंड hasn't even beaten the market returns at the same level of risk. It was a notch lower than the market. But all the hybrid funds, all of them, their risks were materially lower than the market, and the returns were not materially lesser than the market. In many cases they were even higher than the market returns. इसका एक और long duration of time में एक और return chart देखते हैं, which is here. Again, number 5 is the index fund returns. What you will notice here is that, and remaining everyone is a hybrid fund, which we've been using as example. I've got this long durations of data point since 2009 till 2024. Over this period of time, what you will realize that the index fund is almost the bottommost return giver versus all other funds. Okay, I might say the number 6 might be very, very outlier. Which one is ICICI Equity and Debt Fund? No buying recommendation. I'm just trying to give you an example to understand and appreciate. But what you will realize is most of the, even if all the funds were touching neck to the HDFC Sensex fund, it would still be okay. Why? Because सबकी risk इंडेक्स फंड से कम थी. So you're getting the same return, if not higher return than the markets, and you're beating the markets consistently over long durations of time. So friends, what did you understand from this outcome? You do not really need to be very, very punchy to be able to beat the markets. You can beat the markets by following a simple risk management strategy that fall lesser. You don't need to run up higher. That's what aggressive hybrid funds are. In all of these hybrid funds which we used as an example, their average risk was at least 20 to 30% lower than the markets. But in long durations of time, they were falling lesser at each downfalls. As a result, in the end, they were like those two hikers with a pehla wala hiker reached the same destination perhaps earlier than the riskier alternative. So do manage your risks well. You may want to follow us because we can release such useful content week on week basis to make all of us as a better investing community. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.